In this video, we'll show you how to install the Arcooda Pinball Arcade software on a generic video pinball cabinet. We'll show you how to install the software, install the dongle, set up the monitors, modify your setup, and then start playing the machine.
So what we've got here is a cheaply bought cabinet. The PC inside it is lower specs, so I think we've got a Celeron processor, 4th gen, and we've got 4 gig of RAM, and we've got a NVIDIA GT730 video card. So we're going to, what we've already done here is replace the boot drive with a blank SSD and done a clean install Windows 10, and we're going to install the generic cabinet Arcooda Pinball Arcade software on this setup and see how it runs. Okay, so I've got the silver USB here. I'm going to go and plug this in. Okay, so just looking at the contents of the USB here. We're only interested in setup this time. I'll just run through an install and see how it goes. Go next. Let's put it into, let's put it on D drive this time. And we'll go okay. D Arcooda Pinball Arcade, that sounds good. Alright, let's go next. We'll create shortcuts, yes. Go install. It's running the DirectX installer in the background. Now the .NET Framework installer. .2010 VC, 2012 VC, HASP. And now we're extracting the game files. So this should again take a little while, so we'll just gotta wait for it. There we go. So the install's finished. So this time I'm gonna let it do a desktop shortcut and also just let it run. The Sentinel USB key isn't connected at this point, so let's see what happens. The Sentinel key was not found, so that's to be expected. This will be the error message that you'll get if you try to run Pinball Arcade software without the Sentinel key connected to the PC. So I will connect it up now after I remove the installer USB. Alright, so now the Sentinel USB key is connected. Let's try running the Arcooda Pinball Arcade icon on the desktop here. Right, so as this was the first run on this fresh install, the PBA configuration utility has launched itself. So we'll need to set up the display numbers. So again, we're only interested in the DX11 tab. So we've got a bit of a different screen setup on this machine. So let's have a look at our display settings. We've got our main display is 1080 by 1920. So we'll set the back buffer width at 1080 and the height at 1920. We've got the cabinet set up. So all of these are blank. We will need to fill these in. I believe that if you leave these blank and click done, you will get an error message. There is the error message. Input string was not in a correct format. It's the exception there. We can click continue and we'll try again. But yes, if you get that error message in particular, the cabinet numbers haven't been entered. So we're going to go 0, 0 for the playfield coordinates. The width is 1080.00, 1920.00. Back glass will be 1080 across. Top is going to be 0. Width is going to be 1366. Height is going to be 768. Well, that's all actually the same as before. Let's have another look at what's going on here. 1366, 768. And our DMD screen is 1920 by 1080, but the whole screen isn't actually visible. So what we'll do is change how much of the screen the DMD display is on. So I believe we will do the full width. So we'll set the left at 2446 and the width at 1920. The top, let's make that about 200. Bring it down a bit from the top. And the height, it's not going to be 1080, it's going to be about half that maybe. Let's go 900. And we'll see what that looks like. So as you can see, here, just first best guess with the cabinet numbers set up and the screens in this particular machine. We've got the playfield display is looking correct. We've got the back glass display looking correct. The DMD screen looks to be a little bit stretched, but we should be able to correct that. So let's continue on. Let's see how it plays before we go back to the config. Okay. Let's take a look at Adam's Family. So it doesn't look too bad, honestly, with the DMD. Just need to adjust the height a bit. Okay, there's a significant bit of slowdown with these settings. We may be able to get some better performance out of this, adjusting some of the settings. Okay, let's take a look at the screen setup and we'll adjust the DMD display a bit. We should be able to shrink it that way. Now this is particularly slow, so I don't think I'll bother, honestly, doing this way. I might move it down bit as well. Let's save that and see what it looks like in the PBA config now. Alright, so let's go to where we installed. Alright, so our adjustments on top and height here. So let's make it about, I think we're in the middle section of the screen here, so if it's 1080 high, so let's put the top at 270 and the height at 540. Go done. Actually want to come and set up the quality here. What are we doing here? MSA samples, that's fine. Let's turn the anisotropy down. Let's go to number 2 there. MSAA samples, let's make that 1. Let's see if that has any effect on performance. That's saved. We'll run the XC. That's looking pretty schmick. Okay, we're going to have a look at Tales of the Arabian Nights. Okay, so the performance is still pretty sluggish. It looks like we've got most of the DMD visible on the screen. Could just do a little bit more tweaking. Master of Time is good for looking at the DMD. Yeah, we could drop it down a bit more. Let's say another 20 pixels at least. DMD top, let's make it straight up 300, not 3000. As for performance, let's check our NVIDIA control panel. And we'll manage the 3D settings. Let's add Pinball Arcade cabinet to our NVIDIA control panel here. And we will change some things here. So we can set up some stuff with so let's, for the global settings, just change it to performance and apply that. And now we'll look again at the program settings here. So we've got anisotropic filtering off, and aliasing off. That's fine, that's fine. GPUs use all maximum pre-rendered frames. So we're going to set this to 1, because this is known to be a lag effect if too many frames are pre-rendered. So we'll make that the setting 1. Which should give us the least amount of lag. OpenGL rendering GPU. We'll definitely want that to be, well, we're not using OpenGL, so that doesn't matter. Shader cache, Texture filtering. Okay. With those settings changed, let's run the program again, see what we're looking like. I can see just a tiny amount of blue line if you put your head down there.
Oh.
That's good. That means I was close. So I'll bring that up like, I don't know, 10 pixels and shrink it just a little bit because I feel like the bottom's got cut off now. Right, that's looking a bit snappier. That's going to be a lot more playable under these performance graphics settings. I feel like there still could be some amount of slowness, but I think this is probably the best we could hope for under this hardware setup, which isn't too bad at all.